What's up, guys, and welcome to the 7 Levels of Madness in Fiction. In this video, we're ranking the most iconic descents into insanity, from haunted writers to divine intellects who forgot how to feel. We'll be judging them based on how their madness evolves, how self-aware they are, and how far they drift from humanity. Let's break down which characters just lost their minds, and which ones rewrote reality in the process. Level 1, Jack Torrance. Now, we're starting at the very beginning, where madness still looks like frustration. Jack Torrance isn't insane when we meet him. He's ambitious, broke, tired, a man who believes isolation will cure everything wrong with his life. But the Overlook Hotel isn't a fresh start. It's a mirror. It reflects every flaw he's been hiding: pride, anger, ego, failure. And when those reflections start talking back, Jack listens. What makes his breakdown terrifying isn't the ghosts. It's that they don't need to exist for it to make sense. You believe he could go mad on his own. Every argument with Wendy, every failed page, every empty hallway, it's fuel. He doesn't snap. He peels away, slowly, inevitably. By the time he's chasing his son through the snow, Jack's not possessed. He's confirmed. The hotel didn't corrupt him. It just gave his demons a room to breathe. And that's why Jack Torrance sits at level 1. He's not born mad. He just proves how thin sanity really is when ego meets isolation. The first rule of madness: it always starts with good intentions. Level 2, John Doe. Now, unlike Jack, John Doe doesn't unravel. He constructs. This man isn't emotional. He's terrifyingly methodical. Every word, every murder, every sin, planned years in advance. He doesn't see chaos. He sees design. John Doe kills with purpose, not passion. Each body is a sermon, each crime a scripture. He believes the world is diseased with apathy, and he's the cure. That's what makes him so unsettling. He's calm. He doesn't scream, doesn't gloat. He explains. His logic feels too clean to dismiss, too insane to accept. In his eyes, sin demands spectacle. Sloth, greed, envy, all become tools for his divine message. He doesn't think he's a monster. He thinks he's balance. And the worst part? He almost convinces you. John Doe represents the second stage of madness. Not the loss of reason, but its perfection. He's proof that when morality hardens, empathy dies. He replaces doubt with certainty, guilt with purpose, and that purpose becomes his God. When he finally surrenders to the detectives, it's not defeat. It's the final act of his sermon, the proof that he's right. Because to him, madness isn't delusion, it's clarity. He's the man who looked at the world and saw rot and smiled. That's why John Doe sits at level 2. He's not out of control. He's in total control. And that's what makes him horrifying. Level 3, Rorschach. Now this is where madness stops hiding behind morality and starts wearing it. Rorschach isn't your typical vigilante. He doesn't fight crime because he loves justice. He does it because the world disgusts him. Every filthy alley, every corrupt politician, every broken promise, proof that his black and white worldview is the only thing left that makes sense. He doesn't compromise. Not once. Even when everyone else gives up. Even when it costs him everything. To Rorschach, mercy is weakness. Compassion is hypocrisy. The mask doesn't hide who he is, it reveals it. He's obsessed with purity, but purity is just another cage. And that's what makes him dangerous. He'll die for his truth, not because he's noble, but because he can't bend. That's his flaw, his madness. When you look at the world and see only corruption, you stop seeing people. You start seeing targets. His journal becomes scripture. His trauma becomes law. And the irony? He's one of the few people in Watchmen who's right. He uncovers the conspiracy. He exposes the lie. But truth means nothing when it burns the world. Rorschach is the third stage of madness, the moral purist. He's what happens when trauma finds purpose and refuses to let go. He's not insane because he's wrong. He's insane because he's always right. That's why he sits at level 3. He's too logical to be dismissed, too broken to be healed. The kind of madman who makes you wonder, maybe the world really does deserve him. Level 4, Donnie Darko. Now things start getting complicated. Donnie isn't crazy like Jack. He isn't methodical like John Doe. He's somewhere in between. A boy standing between timelines, trying to make sense of the apocalypse. He sees a man in a rabbit suit. He hears whispers about time loops and parallel universes. And yet, he's calm, almost accepting. Donnie's madness isn't loud. It's lonely. He doesn't lash out. He questions. Is he delusional or chosen? Is he saving the world or destroying it? The line keeps shifting until there's no line at all. His therapist calls it hallucination. The audience calls it destiny. But Donnie calls it truth. That's the genius of his madness. It's spiritual. It doesn't reject reality. It negotiates with it. Every decision he makes feels like prophecy wrapped in confusion. He's fighting forces he can't explain, guided by something that might not exist. But he never stops believing. That belief, that quiet certainty, is both his strength and his curse. When Donnie finally accepts his death, it isn't despair, it's peace. He laughs because he understands. The universe only makes sense when he stops trying to fix it. Donnie Darko is the fourth stage of madness, the visionary. He isn't insane because he breaks reality. He's insane because he understands it. That's why he sits at level 4. He's not fighting his mind anymore. He's following it somewhere the rest of us can't go. Madness for him isn't failure, it's freedom. Level 5, Griffith. Now this is where ambition starts to eat humanity alive. Griffith begins as a dreamer, charismatic, brilliant, unstoppable. A man who turns poverty into power and followers into believers. He's not evil, not yet. He just believes his dream is bigger than pain, bigger than love, bigger than anyone else. But dreams that big demand blood. And Griffith is willing to pay, even if the price is everyone who ever loved him. When his empire collapses, when his body breaks, and his pride is stripped away, he doesn't lose faith. He evolves. That's the moment it happens. The quiet birth of a god inside a fallen man. Griffith's madness isn't rage or delusion. It's conviction. He doesn't see himself as a villain. He sees himself as the chosen one who simply refuses to lose. And when the eclipse begins, when he sacrifices his army for transcendence, it's not horror to him. It's fulfillment. It's the moment his dream finally stops bleeding. Griffith represents the fifth level of madness, the divine narcissist, a man so certain of his destiny that morality becomes irrelevant. He's not detached from reality, he's above it. That's what makes him terrifying. He's calm while everyone else screams. His madness is beautiful because it's clean, deliberate, and absolute. That's why Griffith sits at level 5. He doesn't go insane, he just stops pretending to be human. The line between dream and godhood vanishes, and Griffith crosses it smiling. Level 6, Dr. Manhattan. Now we leave humanity behind. Dr. Manhattan isn't insane because he lost his mind. He's insane because he outgrew it. When he becomes a god, his perception fractures. Time stops being a river. It becomes an ocean. He sees everything at once. Birth, death, love, decay. Every event repeating forever. And that knowledge doesn't free him. It traps him. At first, he tries to care. He falls in love, saves lives, even pretends to be human. But the more he understands, the less emotion makes sense. Why mourn what you've already seen? Why love someone whose death is fixed in time? Dr. Manhattan's madness is quiet, pure detachment. He's not cruel, he's indifferent. When you see everything, nothing surprises you. And when nothing surprises you, nothing matters. That's the price of omniscience. He's the god who feels nothing for creation, the scientist who became his own experiment. Even when humanity worships him, he drifts further away, until he's just a blue silhouette on Mars, staring at dust. Dr. Manhattan represents the sixth level of madness, awareness without empathy. He proves that understanding everything means feeling nothing. His breakdown isn't emotional, it's existential. He didn't fall into madness, he ascended into it. That's why he sits at level 6. He's not lost, he's just too far above to ever come back down. Level 7, the Joker. And finally, we reach the highest level, the point where madness stops being sickness and becomes philosophy. The Joker isn't broken by the world. He's the world, broken on purpose. He doesn't want money, revenge, or power. He wants proof. Proof that everyone's sanity is just a bad day away. Every move he makes is an experiment. Every explosion, every joke, every death, a test. He isn't insane because he's lost control. He's insane because he gave it away. To him, chaos isn't the enemy. It's freedom. He doesn't plan to win. He plans to disprove, to show Batman, Gotham, and every person watching that morality is an illusion. That deep down, everyone's like him, waiting for one moment of clarity to finally stop pretending. The Joker has no mask to remove, no identity to protect. He's the rare kind of madman who knows exactly what he is. He calls himself an agent of chaos because chaos doesn't need permission, and that's what makes him unstoppable. You can't threaten someone who has nothing to lose and nothing to prove. The Joker represents the final stage of madness, the liberation from logic itself. He's not haunted by voices or guilt or fear. He's past them. His laughter isn't joy, it's recognition. He's seen the punchline behind existence and decided to laugh forever. That's why he sits at level 7. He's not the end of sanity, he's the beginning of something else. The moment when madness stops whispering and starts making sense. So, there you have it, the 7 levels of madness in fiction. From Jack's isolation to Joker's anarchy, every level shows a different kind of truth, because madness isn't always chaos. Sometimes it's clarity that cuts too deep. Some lose their minds. Some build new ones. And some, like the Joker, just learn to live without one.
Subscribe for more interesting stuff. Tell us your experience in the comments.